Awesome. 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 Good job. What a great job by this team at taking what they did against the Seattle Mariners this weekend and absolutely pissing it all away. What an awesome job. Welcome back to another post-game show here on Mets Central. And yeah, the Mets drop game 127 and they drop a series to the Washington Nationals. The team that went into this series with 50 wins on the season. The Mets dropped a series to that team. They dropped a series to a Washington Nationals squad that has the second worst pitching ERA in baseball. And oh, by the way, barely scored. And in terms of reliever ERA, by the way, with the Nationals, they have the worst. And what did the Mets not do this entire series, including the win here in DC? What'd they do? Oh, that's right. They didn't hit the bullpen. They got 2 runs against the Nationals bullpen this entire series. I I don't know what to say anymore. This team is just the little things like I talk about all the time. These little things are just why I can't envision them winning a title. And this is why with the 3-game winning streak, I did not get myself roped back in. Because this is what the norm is. The 3 games that we saw, outliers. Outliers to the norm. Today, more par for the course. And I don't understand what we're doing here. Lindor's the only one that came to play. In terms of today's game, at least. He's the only one that showed up. But I don't know what it is about this team. Once they get a starter out of the game, they just don't hit. They do not hit. They had one meaningless hit by Lindor, who I just mentioned. One hit against the Washington Nationals bullpen today. That was it. 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. The bottom of the lineup, pretty much automatic outs. And you know what though? They took better at bats than Soto today. Juan Soto was horrible today. 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. What is it going to take for this guy to backpack this team to a win at some point? When's his moment's going to happen? And I'm not saying it never will, but it's very frustrating to watch. Sean Manaea made my eyeballs bleed. Pete Alonso, speaking of the little details for why they won't win, Pete Alonso in the field. Inexcusable baseball. And then you have the manager, who I've been laying off the criticism for a bit because I haven't felt he was warranted criticism until really today. I have a multitude of issues with this manager today. Number one, Jeff McNeil was available late in the game. And apparently they said he wasn't available to play the field, which he did anyway, which it was an inning or two, whatever. So why not? Since Jeff McNeil has the best numbers against Mackenzie Gore out of anyone in this lineup, why not have Marte play the outfield since he did yesterday and have McNeil DH? Is that crazy to say? Is that a crazy idea? I don't think that's a crazy idea. But no, didn't do that. Um, the other problem. Why was Tyler Rogers in the game with the bases loaded? Why was Tyler Rogers in? And I'm sorry, but to me, you can't justify the decision. When you look at the numbers, and I've brought this up before, and I said it when it didn't backfire, and I said I don't want to see it again because it will backfire at some point. Tyler Rogers does not do well with runners on base. And you decide to put him in with the bases loaded, and Riley Adams gives the Nationals the lead in that inning. Why are you going to Rogers there? And again, like you could have went to Rayleigh. Soto should have been available. Soto only threw 14 pitches yesterday. Was Soto not available? You, I'm sorry, you can't go to Rogers there. I don't care that's a right-handed batter if you put Rayleigh or Soto in. Put Gregory Soto in to get one out for you, and then go to Rogers in the next inning. Because at the very least, Soto should be able to come in to get one out. I would rather watch that than, again, Rogers, which I don't have an issue with Rogers himself, but you cannot have him start his appearances with runners on base. Just look at the numbers, and it tells you that. You just can't do that. But they did it anyway. And then the decision, which it didn't matter in retrospect because this offense is lifeless, but Ryan Stanek going into the game when you're down by just 2 runs. Ryan Stanek, if he's not DFA'd tonight, like I tweeted, his team isn't serious about making the playoffs, nonetheless winning a title. Because what is he here for? Like, actually, what is Ryan Stanek here to do? To mop up? You have Frankie Montas in the bullpen to do that now. He is a waste of a roster spot right now. There's no role for him. Somebody tell me his role. I'll wait. I challenge you to tell me what his role is. And again, if your answer is to mop up, you could either just use Montas in that role, or you could have kept Rico Garcia around and DFA'd Stanek weeks ago, which you should have done. Or you could find, I am sure somebody in AAA is more worthy of being up here. I would even be in favor of calling up right now Brandon Sproat. Maybe have him pitch out of the pen or move one of these starters to the pen. And then you could have one of the starters, because at the very least, they'll eat innings from the bullpen. Ryan Stanek is here for no reason at all other than prolonging baseball games and making me want to pull my damn hair out and making my eyeballs bleed. That is the only thing he is on this roster for at this point. He is just horrible. And if I have to see him pitch in October, if the team gets there, that is, which that's not even a guarantee at this rate. That was silly of me to even say such a thing as if they're actually going to make it to October. But in the event they do, and he's on this roster, that's a problem. But the Reds half a game back now, and now you're 7 games back in the division because you can't beat the Washington Nationals. Just so embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Lindor hit the home run. You have Marte hit a home run. Yeah, it's Senger contributing, getting that sac fly. And then once Mackenzie Gore was out of that game, nope, the offense was done for the day. That's okay. We did our job. We knocked the starting pitcher out. Job done. This offense, it's horrible. But nope, no adjustments to the hitting approach at all. Just I'm just so tired of this. I really am. And it sucks too because this was an opportunity to really pull the fans back in potentially. Like, this was a chance to do that. You go out and beat the Mariners, and then you do what you need to do against the Nationals, and then hopefully, I mean, I don't know if they're going to at this rate, but my thought process was after they won that first game against the Nationals, you have to sweep, and I want a 5-1 road trip. Now that's out the window, and I don't think 4-2 is happening. I think at best 3-3 is happening. But you give me a 5-1 road trip after beating the Mariners, sweeping the Nationals, beating the Braves in a series. You head to that Philly series, maybe you give yourself a chance to make a statement in that series and see if you could go out there and win the division. Now I don't care. I'm not talking about winning the division at all. Nope. I'm not talking about that ever again unless they find themselves one game back of the division. That is the only way I will talk about winning the division at this rate, which again, that's not happening. So at this point, will they make the playoffs? I don't know. I have no reason to sit here and tell myself they're going to make it. Why? Because they won a series against the Mariners? Woohoo. Their only series win in August. And it's August 21st. That's their only series win. Out of 6 series, 1 series win. And realistically, that might be their only series win. Maybe they beat the Braves, which you should. Which again, I have no confidence in because you just lost to them last week. Phillies, they're beating you. Marlins, they're at least splitting with the Marlins. Unacceptable. Unacceptable all around. Unacceptable from the coaching staff. Unacceptable from the manager. Unacceptable from Sean Manaea, who, for whatever reason, is limiting his arsenal to 2 pitches as well. And if he's that unhealthy that he's only throwing 2 pitches because of, if it's health related reasons why he's throwing 2 pitches, go on the IL. Get off the mound. I don't want to see you pitch. I don't want to see you pitch at all. Why are you going from 6 pitches last year to now only throwing 2 pitches and a couple changeups? Get off the mound. Give me Brandon Sprout down the stretch. I'm not trying to sit here and watch Sean Manaea labor to get through 4 innings. No, thank you. Go on the IL if you're that injured. The bullpen, this offense especially, which once again, embarrassing. And some of those at bats were just disgusting to look at. I mean, that Jeff McNeil at bat when he pinched hit, horrible. The Soto at bat after the Lindor home run, horrible. The Marte at bat, horrible. And yeah, this is the thing. If this is what's bothering him that much, and if it's affecting him this much, then get the surgery. There's no reason for you to be going out there. You are hurting the team. Don't be pitching. And unfortunately, this is true. And again, I'm not sitting here and saying Juan Soto's never going to be clutch for the Mets, never have, those big hits for this team. But for what this year is, and it's the truth, unfortunately, yeah, it's quiet. It's a quiet 872 OPS. This isn't going to get anyone fired. I gave up on holding out optimism on that a long time ago, Tommy, and I'm sorry you're going to have to also. They're not firing anyone. If losing as much as they hasn't got it done, then I'm at the point where I don't think it's going to happen until the end of the season at this rate. No one's going anywhere until then. And especially now that they won a series, won 3 straight games, they're going to think, "Oh, we could get back to that." I'm done with this team and coaching staff. Only going to watch the reactions to support the channel. I appreciate that. The coaching staff, apart from Richardson, needs to be ripped apart. Mendoza needs to be fired just for his love affair with Stanek. I'm so over this with him. It's gotten just it's gotten to a point where, again, I get it that a manager isn't going out there and playing and these guys have to execute at the end of the day. But like why is it that this losing happens in bunches like it did even last year, early on in the season, and it took, like I need to remind everyone all the time, it took a 50,000-year-old JD Martinez to come up here and bring leadership and, you know, bring some good coaching to this team. But it's gotten to a point with Mendoza where there are so many times I'm sitting here and it's like, do you know your own players? Like, do you do the research, or does anyone do the research to relay to Mendoza to let him know that, like reverse splits exist or anything like that? I mean, I just can't stand the fascination he has with, oh, well, this guy throws with his left hand, so we got to get it. This guy who hits right handed in the lineup. Like, it's crazy for him to, it's a crazy concept for him to understand reverse splits exist sometimes. I don't get it. And no, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. They don't at all. This team deserves to be on the couch in October. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's the case. And you know what? Good. Maybe that will finally get something to change. Since they're just so complacent right now, even though they're down to 7 games above 500, which is sad from where they once were. Maybe that would get them to wake up. Losing to the Washington Nationals. Disgusting. Really, it's disgusting. This was supposed to be where you get your wins down the stretch, because you play the Phillies twice, you play the Tigers, you play the Reds, which all of a sudden becomes like a playoff series. The Rangers, who are fighting for their playoff lives, the Padres, the Cubs are there, and the Marlins and Nationals are there, but they're going to give a fight in those games. I mean, we just saw with the Nationals. They're going to give it their all to play spoiler. These are supposed to be the games you win. Now, you have too many good teams down the stretch, and you can't even beat the bad ones. Who am I to sit here and say this team's making it to October? Who am I to sit here and say that maybe the Cardinals passed them too at some point? That might not be out of the question. Sad. Disgusting. I'm ending things here. Podcast tomorrow. See you guys in the next one.